Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Not sure when you're getting a chance to check this out, but I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to look into how your student is doing and specifically what's going on here in physical science. A little bit about myself. My name is Mr. Pearson. I'm going into my 5th year at Hodgson, and I teach 9th grade physical science, which is what your student's in. I also teach 12th grade physics. It is a awesome experience to watch them grow as students between 9th and 12th grade. It's truly fascinating to see how different they can become and really just how much they grow. I was born and raised in Wilmington, Delaware. I graduated from Concord in 2008. I went out to York, Pennsylvania, and studied secondary education along with physics. And it was a great industrial area, a lot of vocation out there as well, which really made my transition back here to Hodgson seamless. I love working with students who like working with their hands, and the vocational schools really bring that out in them, and it's awesome. I am also a digital lead teacher, which doesn't really mean much to you or your students, but that just means that I also specialize in helping our staff develop their technology platforms, and especially in times like this, it's been a challenge for some. So I also played baseball and football in high school. So really looking to get involved in the athletic side as well here at Hodgson. I am an assistant softball coach, so hopefully maybe I'll see a couple students in the springtime. We were right in the middle of the season, get ready to get to our first game when everything shut down in March. So fingers crossed that we are back out there soon. So I want to go over what's going on in our Schoology course, what sort of assignments we're doing, and take a look at our syllabus. When we get to our Schoology course here, you'll see a little goofy cartoon going on here. Some helpful links. Here's our schedule every day. Probably could take that down by this point. It seems like we're all pretty well aware. But I've got a couple videos here. Here's some tips for submitting assignments on Schoology. If you're having issue with the Chromebook, here's some troubleshooting tips. Here is a link to our interactions website. I'll come back to this in a second. Moving forward, we have our attendance links. We have our meetings links. This is a link to the group, not a link to the meeting. This will take them to the team, and then from there they can see when we are scheduling or opening up different meetings. Right now we're going live at the beginning of class every Monday and every Wednesday. Getting into the meat and potatoes, the actual content on the course, we have this intro folder. I'm going to come back to this when we get to our syllabus. This was all week 1 stuff, just sort of introduction type material. I had a survey. I had them create their own lab coat and design it based on stuff that they like to do. One thing, if your student is having issues with their grades right now, please take a look at this hazard communication quiz. It's the only summative grade that's in right now. It's something that they're doing at the beginning of every science class and every vocational class, wherever they're at, whether it's St. George's, Howard, so on and so forth. So please make sure that they're doing that. That's something that's unfortunately holding a couple people back right now. Again, we'll come back to the intro when we start talking about the syllabus, but a little bit about how we organize the actual science content. We have multiple different units. In each unit, we have different investigations, and in each investigations, we have different activities. Okay? Right now, like I said, we're going live Mondays and Wednesdays. We're doing a 2-day cycle where in those 2 days, we should be completing an activity. So we go live on Monday, start an activity, finish it by Tuesday afternoon. We go live on Wednesday. We'll review that last activity that we finished up, go over the next one, and they'll finish that one by Thursday afternoon. Monday, the cycle repeats. So each activity is taking about 2 days. Each investigation is taking about 2-3 weeks. Depends on how many activities. Investigation 1 had 5 activities, so it took about 3 weeks. Had a little bit of buffer there. We just wrapped that one up. Investigation 2 only has 3 activities. We should be able to wrap this one up in 2 weeks. Okay. We will have a quiz at the end of each investigation, so about every 2 to 3 weeks. Within these activities, there's a bunch of different assignments that we could do. one thing that we will see inside of each investigation is what I call a driving question board. Okay, these are collaborative spaces. These are Google Docs that all of your students can edit. We are really struggling to find ways to get kids to interact while we're all sitting behind a computer screen. It's one of the things that I miss the most about being in class is I'm huge on learning from your mistakes and learning from your failures. And one of the best ways to learn that it's a mistake is to be in a collaborative group, be working with a lab group and something like that. And one student thinks one thing and one student thinks another thing. And they could work through an investigation or an experiment and figure out who's right. And maybe they were both wrong. Maybe they were both right in different ways. So I love sort of having that learning experience. And we're trying to find ways to bring that out of them while we are in this remote setting. So that's something they are working on sort of all the while. In different activities, we've got all sorts of different platforms. There's a main few. You'll see this symbol here is a discussion board. Again, another way to allow students to collaborate. Excuse me, I've got a little sneeze coming here, I can feel. A collaborative discussion. It's a sort of a public forum where we can share different thoughts. You'll see this green puzzle piece. This is technically a quiz. I use these ones for checks. They're 2 or 3 questions. I put them at the end of activities, and I just want to make sure that they are getting the main points from this activity. Some other ones. Same deal, same deal. And there's some other stuff in here somewhere. Here we go. Here's another good one. If you see this symbol, I'll refer to these as assignments. Generally, when students click into these, they're going to have a Google Doc that's attached to it. They should be able to edit everything right in there. And then right up here, there will be a button to submit. Again, that video that I pointed out on the first page, our home page, goes over submitting all sorts of different assignments as well. The last one that comes to mind is this blue puzzle piece. It's more of a teal. I call the one we saw before. I refer to this as the green, and this is the blue. Also an assessment. These I use for quizzes. We should have just finished this one up on Friday afternoon. Okay, so I'm going to start grading these guys and get that going. But these are, again, like I said, sort of at the end of an investigation. This is a larger, this is, the summative for investigation 1. Outside of Schoology, I pointed out this interactions website. This is something that we're using sort of alongside Schoology. And you will see that, and I can click in here, as your student gets to their interface, you'll see that these questions are going to line up with the questions here. All right, so we have moved on to investigation 2. What are the factors that affect the interactions between objects? Same question right here. Click this menu button. Here are your different activities. Again, those essential questions should match up with the activity essential questions I put on Schoology. But you can use these buttons here to sort of navigate through the activity. There's going to be different, you can see that I've drawn here. There's different modeling that they'll do. There's going to be different simulations that they might come to. There's questions for them to answer. All right, so this is an example. There's a simulation here. They could type an answer here. You can either delete it or go back and forth. It should automatically, if you choose to go to the next portion, it should automatically save that for you. Okay. So again, we're using this alongside of Schoology. It's sort of a supplement, and it can also serve as sort of an interactive notebook. They can come back and take a look at that, again, because they match up so nicely. So that sort of takes care of how my Schoology course is organized, what sort of assignments they're going to be doing. So I want to take a couple minutes and talk about the syllabus. Again, you can find that in the introduction folder, and there's another red folder just titled Syllabus. If you haven't seen it already, there should be a parent and guardian forum here. Really just to want to make sure that we have your contact information right if we should need to reach out to you. And just let me know if there's anything extra that I might need to know that I don't, or wouldn't regularly have found out about your student, that we can make sure that we help them to succeed. Again, in this sort of uncertain time. To talk about a couple policies, and excuse me for just one sec. Talking about some policies that I laid out here in my syllabus. Contact information, best way to reach out to me, email right here. For students, I prefer them to do it through Schoology. All right. I haven't found a very good way to share a phone number with you guys, because I'll call you through Microsoft Teams, but they've asked us not to share our cell phone numbers, which I hope you can understand. About the course, sort of went over that. Supplies, we've got our Chromebooks. I suggest they have a notebook. It's tough for me to tell them to take notes, not being able to, usually I would provide graphic organizers and things like that. We're also doing a lot of modeling. So sometimes drawing things by hand is a little bit easier for them. As far as rules and expectations, and I like to say be a pro, be prepared, be respectful, and own it. Preparedness means that we're showing up on time and we're doing our assignments on time. Respectful, our students have been doing a great job of this so far. Really just conducting themselves specifically this semester in our live sessions. And I had mentioned it's tough for us to collaborate, so also being respectful when we're publicly posting on those different forums, whether it's a Google Drive, Google Doc, or Google Slide, or discussion board. Owning it. Own your work that you're turning in. I mentioned I am big on learning from your mistakes and learning from your failures. So part of that is just owning up to when you make one. Because running away from them is not really going to help either. This also gets into academic dishonesty / honesty. It's a tough time. There's only so much I can do. We live in a world where students can airdrop things to each other and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna, a lot of the quizzes and assignments are things where they're deciphering data themselves, and it's not very Googleable, I will say. So I'm not sure if that disappoints you or not, but it's tough to cheat on. It's just stuff that you sort of have to go through and sort of look through on your own and sort of create your own opinion, if you will. Attendance, like I said, please make sure they're doing the attendance form every day. Our main, and I'm getting a phone call here. I apologize. I'm going to hang up on them. I apologize if that cut out my audio there. Grading scale, 10-point scale. It is a class that you need to pass, so we need to be above that 60 mark. Late work, up to 3 days late, 10% off. 4 days late, 20% off. After 4 days, they're going to receive a 0. Those are the main points. Again, if you have any questions, there's always going to be questions. Please email me. I'd love to hear from you. And if you don't have any questions, if you just want to introduce yourself and say hi, again, shoot me an email. Yes, I'm forgetting if I mentioned something else I can provide to you guys is a parent access code. If you'd like, I can set that up for you guys as well, but just something I need for you to request individually. Again, I can get that for you. And I am working on the last 10 seconds of my video, so I'm going to wrap it up. It was nice to sort of meet you guys, and I do hope to see you guys in person sometime soon, and along with your students. And have a great rest of your day.